Tonight we got a big show. We're going to look at the bowl projections. Already some questions on the stream about that. Where everybody thinks BYU's going to go here at the end of Christmas. By the way, speaking of Christmas and bowl games, this will be BYU's first post-Christmas bowl game since 2013.
Yeah, it's been a long time, and we'll talk a little bit more about the details, but a lot more money on the line in these bowl games. I think about BYU kind of being in the money now. Two reasons. They're going to go to a bowl game that's going to pay more than double, well, maybe even triple of anything they've ever gotten before.
Looks like triple.
Yeah, triple. So, excuse me. The other thing that happens is in 2025, BYU gets a full share of the Big 12 revenue.
Yeah. 2025
is going to be a year of great funds. That maybe we can catch up with everybody and what we pay our coaches and our staff and those folks.
That would be nice.
And reinvest some money in infrastructure and stuff like that to launch this program. What they've done in these first couple of years with limited funds has been amazing. And it's been support from folks like all of you out there that have contributed to keep this thing going when they've been working on a half share compared to everybody else in the league.
That'll be nice. We're going to recap the Houston game, the regular season finale. Austin Colley's going to join us in just a bit. We'll find out what he thinks of the 10-2 season. We'll talk about that too. 10-2, some people are bummed out because we all wanted to be 12-0 and in the mainstream that we were swimming in for a long time during the season. But 10-2 is not bad either, so we'll talk about that.
Yeah, 10-2 and probably as good a season when you think about the competition they played.
Yeah.
Like I was on a 13-0 team, couple of 11 season teams, but we never played a schedule like these guys played this year. So 10-2 against what they've done, against who they played this year was pretty crazy actually, and far exceeded our expectations. Problem is we reset our expectations when they were playing so well for 9 games and then tapered off just a little bit, and they got it back this last week, at least in the first half. Second half, interesting.
Yeah.
We did hear that they all heard about Iowa State's win at halftime. So, and they kind of played in a funk in the third quarter and then pulled away.
They sure did.
Does that surprise you? Doesn't surprise me. Now that I know that doesn't surprise me.
No, but it's still,
because Houston never felt like they were a threat. Did you ever think Houston had any chance to win that game at any time in the game?
Well, there was the time when they had the ball with 8 minutes left, down by 6 after they'd scored and gotten the 2-point conversion before their big fumble. So that was the one moment where it was like, hey, we're going to have to score in the last couple minutes.
If they don't get a stop or do something. And I think the defense went, oh, come on, let's just quit playing. Let's go here.
Yeah.
And then they go sack the guy, get the ball, and they go down and score again. It's just like, to me, the game never, ever felt in doubt. And at that moment, I was like, whoa. I looked up and I did say, wow, they're only 1 score away. But it almost felt like BYU was just messing around with them all game long. And almost like, the cat that has the little toy mouse and then just kind of swats it around a little bit and doesn't really. That's how it felt to me. I never felt like Houston matched up, and I always felt like BYU would pull away at the end through that whole game.
The Cougs kept giving them the ball.
The turnovers were not okay, and that's a little bit of focus. But it is interesting because I felt that they played their worst right out of the locker room, which they've been good at all year.
Yeah.
But the fact that they all got that news at halftime explains a little bit of that to me. And they get a win, which is what you got to do, and they get to 10-2. So that was pretty cool.
All right, the national rankings, the new polls out with the AP Top 25. BYU went up to 17 after beating Houston, up to 18 in the coaches poll, which if they get to a decent bowl game and beat a really good opponent, they could finish in the top 15.
Yeah.
USA Today projects BYU against Miami in the Pop-Tarts Bowl. That's December 28th in Orlando, Florida. That's a day game on ABC. What about that?
I like it. Because I think that might be my favorite one. I know Clemson is a big name too, but Miami's got a Heisman Trophy possibility there. So a lot of eyes would be on it. And Miami has a lot of fun athletes, but they don't play great defense. I think that's a good matchup for BYU. Sporting
News is out with theirs, and they're saying BYU against Washington State in the Alamo Bowl on December 28th. That's prime time on ESPN in San Antonio.
I'm good with the Alamo Bowl. I don't want Washington State.
Yeah,
doesn't have enough. I
think their coordinator's already left. Took another job today.
That's why I don't love that matchup. The Alamo Bowl's great with me. I just don't love Washington State as an opponent.
CBS Sports says Alamo Bowl, BYU against Colorado.
I like that one a lot better.
That one
would have a lot of national interest in it with Dion and Shador and all those. And Dion has said, they're all playing.
Yeah.
In a bowl.
And ESPN wants big games on their air in prime time. That would be one. Action Network, Brett McMurphy, he's got BYU Colorado in the Alamo Bowl.
Yeah, so we got two saying that, right?
Yeah.
And then College Football Network says BYU and Clemson in the Pop-Tarts Bowl. See, I love that one too.
Yeah.
I'm rooting for Miami or Clemson in the Pop-Tarts Bowl because I think Orlando, for the players and the families and all that, is a phenomenal destination, and the weather's going to be great, and it's outdoors. I think that could be a really, really fun one.
I love Alamo Bowl because it's indoors, but BYU's got, as we see on the stream tonight, there are a lot of BYU fans in Texas.
Yeah, and the Alamo
Big
Bowl
crowd can get there.
Pays more.
Yeah.
So from a financial perspective, when you think about the payouts, the Alamo Bowl is $8.25 million. Mm-hmm. That's huge, right?
Yeah.
And then the Pop-Tarts is $6 million. That's still phenomenal, way better than anything BYU's ever imagined in the past.
Now, put it in perspective. BYU's been to 40 bowl games.
Yeah. What's the highest?
And well, that's just, you got to figure it was the lone New Year's Day Bowl.
Yeah.
Because we know it wasn't the Holiday Bowl. That was always lower tier. And it certainly hasn't been any of the Independence Bowls that they've gone to. So you go back to 1997, they got $2 million to play in the Cotton Bowl. $2 million. Pop-Tarts Bowl, $6 million. As you mentioned, Alamo Bowl is 8.2. That's the difference between being 14-1 and finally getting a small piece of the pie to being 10-2 in the group where all the money is,
right,
and go play for $8.25 million.
Yeah.
Austin College is going to join us in a couple of minutes. Let's recap Houston before we bring him in. BYU wins at 30-18. Retzlaff was 8 of 19. I can't remember a game where BYU quarterback had 8 completions, 167 yards, no picks. He ran 9 times for 52 yards and a couple of touchdowns.
They really didn't throw it that much. And here's the thing. I was going to go back. I watched the film, but I forgot to count the drops. There was a bunch of drops.
Some hit guys right in the face mask.
In the face, in the hands.
Yeah.
They got to tighten that up because that's not been good. There have been some key drops in games this year. I'm thinking in my head of 3 that I know for sure, and there might have been a 4th. So let's give them the benefit and say there were 4 drops. That's 13 of 19. I'm a lot better with that.
Yeah.
Or 12 of 19. I'm a lot better with that. They just didn't.
And he wasn't sharp either. It fumbled the snap.
Yeah,
the whole thing.
BYU put the ball on the ground 4 times and they lost 3 fumbles, didn't they?
They were in a funk.
Yeah, they just offensively it seemed like they could push them around, but they just couldn't. They couldn't really execute. And I say the same thing over and over again. I feel like Jake could make more of a living with some quicker throws underneath. Get the ball to Chase Roberts and to Laster and these guys underneath. Although he did throw a couple of underneath throws, and they dropped it, not Chase.
Yeah.
Darius had a big drop at the beginning of the game, wide open. I can't remember who else, but they had drops on some of those easy.
Keanu Hill had
a drop on an easy ball.
Yeah.
A
couple others.
Norm Chow, the great wide receivers coach and offense coordinator that left here and went to USC and won national championships and was the coordinator for the Titans and head coach at Hawaii. He always used to say, the difficult catches just take a little more practice. He said the difficult catches are routine. The impossible catches just take a little more practice. He was like, no. Routine catches, we never drop those. That ball cannot be on the ground, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so they have got to tighten that up. So, yeah, we forget about, Down Smith. What about JoJo Phillips, right? Cody Hagan, we mentioned already. And then and Nakua Tay, he looks really, really good. There is such a nice group of young receivers. And then our young running backs can catch the ball in the backfield too. Moa's good out of the backfield. Haunga's good out of the backfield. We have guys that are really good at catching the ball out of the backfield. There's just a bunch of great receivers that are coming back next year. And Cody's trying to come back after being hurt almost for 2 years. That's hard.
Yeah. Hey, while we're talking
JoJo
about,
had a drop. Thanks. That's the other one. I remember that one too.
While we're talking about Jake and Didge, brings out a good point. We're going to look at it tomorrow on After Further Review. My favorite play by Retzlaff was hustling back and diving into 3 people to stop the pick. Actually, it was a fumble. Remember, they were doing a little reverse. Yeah. It was fumbled into the defensive end's arms, and he goes rumbling down. Jake dives under there, knocks him down, gets him out of bounds, and 2 plays later, they throw an interception to Tyler Batty. So that's right. That was an awesome play.
That was a huge play. That's a game-winning play.
Yeah.
And he didn't – sometimes when the quarterback throws a pick, you think, you better go tackle that guy. But he didn't have anything to do with that, and he went and tackled the guy.
Yeah, it wasn't going to happen on his watch. And so you're right. He hustled back against Oklahoma last year. He also hustled back on that pick, I want to say against Kansas. But, you get plenty of hustle out of Jake.
Yeah, there's never. I'll tell you one thing you will never question on Jake Retzlaff. His work ethic, his heart, his leadership, and all of that combination, all of those intangible things, that dude will never have a lack of effort. He's just not wired that way. And I love that about him. He's getting better, and he's going to continue to get better at, he was a 2-to-1 touchdown interception ratio this year, 20-10. Which is exactly what we said we wanted him to be this year. Next year, I want him 3+1. So, because he'll be a senior, and that's what I expect out of seniors in this offense.
L.J. Martin had a career-high 22 carries for 87 yards. Chase Roberts had 3 catches for 76. Tanner Wall had 13 tackles.
Tanner Wall has had the quietest great season maybe we've seen on defense in a long, long time. He's been phenomenal at free safety. And remember, were we even talking about him going into fall camp? He came out of spring ball and we're like, wow, he got bigger and stronger and faster along with Crew Wakely. Did we think that those two guys were going to be the starters at safety and that they were going to be as good as they were this last year? And they're both back.
Yeah. A couple of comments there on the tight ends. Michael, I've been disappointed by the lack of tight end use. I think everyone agrees with that. And then, John, wouldn't you say that we underutilized the tight ends in the offense? They weren't even part of the offense. The Keanu experiment didn't work. And they were so optimistic in fall camp of his speed and ability to catch over the middle. And either it wasn't there for him or they just went away. But outside of a lob to the end zone that was underthrown for a pick, there hasn't been many tosses to the tight end all season.
Yep.
And that was an interesting development. We'll see which way that goes. Thank you for watching The Wise Guy.
If you like what you're watching, you can help us out by subscribing and hitting that notification button.